The day my boss congratulated someone else for the promotion he promised me, I didn't argue or react. I smiled, clapped once, and felt something inside me shut off completely. He thought I'd swallow it. He had no idea what that silence meant. If you've ever been overlooked, underestimated, or quietly replaced, subscribe now. These stories aren't motivation, they're mirrors. You'll want to see how this one ends. I didn't always plan to walk out. For nearly a year, I planned to stay. My name is Lena Hart, and at the time, I was a senior analyst at Redline Logistics, a mid-sized supply chain firm that loved buzzwords like family culture and growth mindset, while quietly rewarding obedience over competence. My boss, Victor Hale, was the kind of man who shook hands hard and spoke softly, like everything he said carried weight, even when it didn't. 6 months before I left, he leaned against the edge of my desk with that calm, confident smile. "Lena, I need you on the Atlas integration," he said. I looked up from my screen. "That's not a small project." He nodded. "That's why I'm asking you. Deliver this clean and the operations lead role is yours." I didn't ask him to repeat it. I didn't record the conversation. I just believed him. That was my first mistake. The Atlas integration was a disaster when it landed on my plate. Redline had just acquired a regional carrier with outdated systems, angry clients, and warehouses that ran on tribal knowledge instead of documented processes. If Atlas failed, Redline would bleed contracts within months. Victor knew that. That's why he handed it to me. From that week on, my life shrank to dashboards, timelines, and late-night calls. I slept with my phone on my pillow. I canceled birthdays. I stopped cooking and lived on takeout eaten over spreadsheets. My sister joked, "You're dating your laptop now." I laughed and said, "Just for a few months." Those months were brutal. One warehouse manager threatened to quit on a Tuesday morning. A routing error nearly sent 40 trucks to the wrong distribution center on a Friday night. Twice, the integration timeline blew up and had to be rebuilt from scratch. Each time, Victor called me. "Fix it, Lena." Not, "Can you help?" Not, "What do you need?" Just, "Fix it." And I did. I negotiated with vendors, rewrote workflows, and smoothed over clients who were already drafting termination emails. When things stabilized, Victor walked into executive meetings and said things like, "We made strong leadership decisions under pressure." He never said my name. The first time I confronted him, he smiled, like I was being cute. "Relax," he said. "People know you're the backbone here. The title will come." So I kept going. By month 4, Atlas was running smoother than Redline's legacy systems. Delivery times dropped, error rates disappeared. One client emailed executive leadership directly, praising the clarity and discipline of the integration process. Victor forwarded me the email with a single line. "Nice win." He presented the results to the board the next week. My work was everywhere. My name showed up once in 8-point font on a slide labeled "Supporting Contributors." I told myself not to be dramatic. By the time the all-hands meeting rolled around, everyone assumed the announcement was inevitable. "You're next," a dispatcher told me in the break room. "About time they make it official," another analyst said. I believed them. I wore my best blazer that morning. Not flashy, just sharp enough to say I took myself seriously. Victor stood at the front of the room, hands folded, soaking in the attention. "I'm excited to announce a leadership update," he said. "Effective immediately, Evan Brooks will step into the operations lead role." Applause erupted. Evan, who had joined Redline 3 months earlier and still asked basic questions about routing logic, stood up looking stunned. My hands stayed still. Victor didn't look at me. Not once. Something went quiet in my chest. Not anger, not sadness, just clarity. After the meeting, people avoided my eyes. A few whispered apologies. One manager muttered, "That was unexpected." Victor caught up to me near the elevators. "Be a team player," he said casually. "Help Evan ramp up." I looked at him. "You promised me that role." He sighed. "Things change. Don't take it personally." That was the moment I knew. Not that he was wrong, but that he never planned to be right. I didn't go back to my desk. I opened a blank document and typed 2 sentences. No emotion, no accusations. I printed it, folded it once, and walked to Victor's office. He was mid-email when I set the paper down. "What's this?" he asked, already annoyed. "My resignation," I said, "effective immediately." He laughed once, a sharp sound. "You're kidding." I didn't answer. He read it, then read it again. "No," he said, pushing back from his desk. "You can't leave. Atlas is still stabilizing." "That's not my problem anymore." "Lena, don't do this. You're emotional. Take the weekend." You broke your word, I said. That's what I'm walking away from. His voice changed. Think about your future. This industry is small. I smiled. So is your reputation. I walked out. By the following Monday, my phone lit up. First, Evan. Hey, quick question. How do I approve carrier exceptions? I didn't reply. Then, a client. We're seeing conflicting updates. Can you clarify? I responded politely. I no longer work at Redline Logistics. The reply came fast. That explains a lot. By Wednesday, former coworkers were venting in my inbox. Victor's losing it. They don't know how Atlas actually works. Evan asked what a load tender was. I stayed silent. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. This is Rachel Monroe, Director of Operations at Iron Gate Freight. We were referred to you by one of your former clients. I leaned back in my chair. She didn't waste time. We're launching a national integration. I was told you ran Atlas end to end. I did. Good, she said. We need someone who actually understands the work. Are you open to a conversation? The interview wasn't an interview. Rachel asked one question that Redline never had. What support do you need to succeed? I started the following month, with authority, a real title, and a compensation package Victor would have called unrealistic. 3 months in, Irongate was thriving. Redline wasn't. An internal audit flagged inconsistencies in Victor's reports, metrics that didn't align, credit assigned to leadership without documentation. Someone finally followed the trail. My name kept appearing. I cooperated fully. I sent emails, logs, timelines, unchanged and unembellished. 2 weeks later, Rachel forwarded me an industry update. Victor Hale had been terminated for falsified reporting and misrepresentation of leadership contributions. Redline issued a quiet apology to several clients. Evan was reassigned. I didn't celebrate. I just closed the email and went back to work. Because walking out wasn't revenge. It was self-respect. And once I chose that, everything else followed.